We are going to be talking about multiplication today. Our first problem is going to be 5 times 0, which is 0. Another way to look at it would be, how many 5s do we have? So there are 0 5s, which is 0. Our next problem will be 5 times 1, which is 5. You could look at this the other way too. How many 5s are there? There's one of it, it's going to be 5, the answer. Our next problem would be 5 times 2, would be 10. And the other way to see it is, how many 5s are there? There are 2 5s. So that would be 5 plus the second 5 would be 10. So the answer will be 10. Our next problem is 32 times 26. This is a 2-digit times 2-digit. To do this, we have to align them from 1, 10, and 100. So 2 times 6 would be 12, which is 2 digits. So 2 in the bottom, 1 goes on above the 3. Then that'll be 6 times 3 would be 18, plus 1 will be 19. Now we do our next one, which is our 2, and our 2 is in our 10th place. So to make sure we're in our 10th place, we add a 0 down there below the 2. So we start off with 2 times 2 will be 4, and then 2 times 3 will be 6. And then you add them together will be 2 plus 0 is 2, 9 plus 4 is 13, which is 2 digits. So you put the 3 on the bottom, put 1 on top above the 1, and that'll be 6 plus 1 will be 7, plus the other 1 will be 8. Our next one deals with a special tip or trick with times in by 10. For example, 100 times 10 be 1,000. How we do that is by putting 100, and if it's multiplied by the tens, you could just add a 0 to it. So that's why the answer would be 1,000. Another example would be 100 times 100. Since 10 is only 1 0 and 100 is 2 0, we can now add 2 zeros to the 100, so it'll be 10,000. On this problem, it's going to be decimal times decimal. So 0.55 times 0.60. We're going to start with 0 times 5 would be 0. 0 times 5 again would be 0. So now we add a 0 below that 0. And then we start with 6 times 5 would be 30, which is 2 digits. So we put a 0 in the bottom and 3 above the 5. So 5 times 6 would be 30, plus the 3 will be 33. So we add 0 plus 3,300 and we get 3,300. Now we add in the decimal place. Anything to the right of the decimal is how many we count. So 0.55 and 0.60. So that's technically 4 places that we have to add decimal. So we gotta put the 3,300 and add a decimal 4 times. So we start from the right and move to the left. So it'll be 0.3300. That's our answer. So this problem will be half times 0.60. To do a fraction times decimal, you could do many ways, but here's one way. You could change the half into 0.5. So now you have 2 decimal times 2 decimal, which we already done. So 0 times 0 would be 0, 0 times 5 would be 0, 0 times 6 would be 0, and then 6 times 5 would be 30. So you have 3,000, and then you move 0.50 and 0.60, so you have 4 decimal places. So you move from the right of the 3,000 to the left of the 3,000, 4 places. So it'll be 0.3000. Here we have a fraction times fraction. To do fraction times fraction, you can multiply the top with the top of the fraction and the bottom with the bottom of the fraction. So 1 times 1 will be 1, and then 2 times 2 will be 4. So this will equal to 1/4. Or we could convert and change the fraction into a decimal. So half will be 0.5 times another half of 0.5 will equal to 1/4, or it could be 0.25. They're identical.